Jordan starts off this hour in Portland, Oregon. Hi, Jordan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How you doing today?
Better than I deserve, man. What's up?
Good. Well, Dave, I doubt you remember me, but I spoke with you, I believe, in April or May of this year. And I'm coming back to share some great success. I sold my property I had back in Denver. My wife and I were just getting ready to get married, and now that's happened. The house is sold. Wedding's paid for. We're debt free. We put a down payment on a beautiful house. We're getting ready to close here at the end of December or beginning of December.
Great.
And
awesome.
It's fantastic. It feels like a huge accomplishment, and it definitely had its ups and downs. And when we got back from our honeymoon, I actually lost my job. So a little hiccup, but I'm glad that we had that, our debts taken care of. And now I'm back to work making more than I did before. And my wife's got a job that she loves too. And I feel bad though. All things considered, things are going pretty well. I went through this buying process of this property. I mean, we found this house together. But when it came to paying for the house, it all came down to my credit and for the mortgage. My wife's didn't have good enough credit to be on the mortgage with us, but she's, an equal owner of this property with me. But now that, we're debt free, we're getting ready to close on this house. She kind of admitted it to me today that she felt a little bit left out of the process, and she wants to be a little bit more involved with finances. And I feel bad that, I didn't really take that into consideration beforehand. I'm looking for some guidance from you all and to see, what can I do better to help make sure that she's involved with this process and how we can, how I can get her acclimated to what the finances look like, if that makes sense.
Well, it's interesting, Jordan, because what comes to mind for me, this house buying, while it's super exciting and yes, it's a big deal, it is one step, one piece of your financial journey. What jumps out to me that is way more important is that your wife is involved in the day-to-day finances and the monthly budget and the conversations where you guys as a team come together and say, hey, what are the goals we're working on, and how are both of our values represented, and both of us have equal ownership and equal responsibility. And that to me is what makes the unity piece so powerful in relation to your marriage when it comes to finances. Buying a house is a one-time thing. Like, that happens. You're going to close when you close. And I mean, I can see how she would feel that way if there was some type of conversations in those meetings where she felt shame or less than or something. And that's something that, is valid. And I'm glad that you're asking, and I'm glad that you care. But I would not see that continuing to be an issue. I'm just guessing here, but I wouldn't see that continuing to be an issue day to day in your marriage and managing your finances. Dave, I don't know if I'm missing a piece of this here.
I think you're there. To Christy's point, doing a detailed budget before the month begins, and both of you agreeing on that. Sharon and I have been married 39 years, and if we are agreeing on our calendar, and we talk calendars like we talk budgets, matter of fact, maybe more detail on calendars these days, and we're agreeing on our budget, and we've agreed that neither one of us make large financial decisions without the other one involved, and including giving, including buying something. I don't come home with a new car and go, look what I did. We don't do that. We talk about anything we're going to buy before we buy it. That's pretty simple. And, now it may be that she's redecorating and I'm just like, okay, what are we going to spend? We're going to spend X. All right, I'm good with that. Now, then she goes and does 9,000 details associated with that, but I'm in the loop enough that I didn't get surprised by the sticker shock of us redecorating again. And so, but yeah, so, or maybe I'm buying a toy or something, and I'm going, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing. Are you okay with this? Yeah. And then she doesn't have anything else to do with it. I go do it. So but she's in the loop on the decision and the monthly budget, the rhythm of where the money's going around the house, what we're doing with that. That puts it all together. So I'm kind of with Christy. I kind of think you're not doing that part. If you're doing that part, it'll probably solve the big part.
Yeah. The one thing I would add to that as you're talking, Dave, because you make such a good point of the other person being in the loop on the decision, even if they're not going to have an interest in necessarily redecorating or the toy or whatever, but they know about the purchase. And one of the things that Matt and I have put in place years ago is we just simply do not make any type of financial decision until we are totally on the same page. And I know that's probably common sense for you and I, but I want to say it out loud because some people might just be like, oh, well, and they go ahead and do it. And it's showing respect to the other person to hold on any big decisions, on any decisions until you guys get on the same page. And so, so be willing to work through that. Those type of conversations, that's what's going to create the unity in your marriage.
Exactly.
That's going to make a big difference, Jordan.
So it could be that you she said, yeah, let's get a house. You went and got it. And she wasn't involved in the process enough as far as that goes, and she's actually going to live there. So whether she's on the credit or not, you're on the credit doesn't matter to me at all. That's not part of this conversation. So good question.